Look at that huge force of Airborne in the middle.
I know, he's had a huge force. He's conserved. I mean, it'd be hard pressed to find a spot where he lost a whole squad.
Yeah, one of the squads has 7 tank kills.
Oh,
Sheesh.
Aircraft flying over. Trying to straight the Panzer Grenadiers, but miss, but doesn't really matter.
He's not paying attention to his mortar.
So,
it's down.
lilrichy has a squad that has 11 infantry kills, but the rest have like 3 and 1. I mean, he's literally thrown his units away in a lot of places.
Look at the Panzer Grenadiers just gonna walk into more and more mines! He does a sprint, oh, gets sniped! Oh, the final valiant effort by the Panzer Grenadiers, oh.
Those mines have helped so much. I mean, Saj just throwing those any little place he can, it really has done. Look at all the mines he's got over there now. I mean, he's just making a freaking minefield because he knows it's raping him.
Stand firm, allies.
I mean, they didn't even have to shoot bullets to make him retreat.
Oh, look at this, the Airborne about to rape yet another tank. Look at that.
lilrichy says this is going to Relic to fix this shit.
Shameless plug for the beta.
Wow.
What is this 5? Like, did he ask a question, or I heard him say 4 earlier, but I thought he was saying a location. Anyone know what it means?
No idea.
I think he's
V1.
talking about the number of recoilless squads.
Oh.
Oh, wow. Man, so many tanks destroyed in this game.
Calliope barrage again. Oh, that tiger is done.
No! Ate a rocket
On
in
the
the
right.
ass. Propa would have been nice, said Armorgedon. Yeah, you know what? One of them should have been Terror.
Could you imagine if they'd had propaganda?
Yeah, it would have worked a lot, I think, against that.
Would have worked wonders.
Yep.
Panzer
that
IV
freaking
charging
ink.
in
You
for
don't
glory! Oh, right
Lay
before it
back
dies. Yeah.
At least they played out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, oh my goodness. That's disappointing.
An hour and 4 minutes. Americans have 41 tickets. They brought them down from like 340 or something when they had only like 60 left.
That's game, folks, with the Axis completely defeated in VPs.
I know I talk about lilrichy a lot and not talk about many other guys and their negative points, but that's only because I was watching lilrichy. So, if any other, did you see anyone else that didn't have too good of moves or had really good moves?
Well,
Good tactics.
Well, I would have to say Armorgedon also suffered the lilrichy syndrome, and that was throwing his own tanks away as well, without them being supported. So he was suffering the same problem. And when you have two players that have gone like tank-heavy doctrines like Blitzkrieg, and I mean Blitzkrieg, you know, it has options too. You could have called in the stormtroopers, or you could have called in other things, but you know, opting for tanks, and with lilrichy going tank hunters, obviously, they just, like you said, they just both threw their tanks away, leaving Grundhelm, the only guy holding his own to himself, without any sort of support. So that was kind of lack of foresight there. I mean, I'd have to say Grundhelm is probably the MVP for the Germans, because he did what he could to hold that right-hand side, but without support from the rest of his team, you know, there's only so much one guy can do against like several other players' armies coming to kill you, you know.
I feel like lilrichy could have done a ton with what he had too, though. Could have done so much more.
Well, I mean, I know we've been ripping on lilrichy for most of the game, but I mean, props to his, was it the Burger Tiger? You know, repairing all those units and resurrecting a couple of Tigers, and you know, he probably would have gotten the Yak Panther back, but the Allies were a little smart and destroyed the wreck. But we kept their armor game going, so I'll give him credit for that. But yeah, it was completely inexcusable for him to have 2 Panzer battle groups on the field already, and that's all he had. Like, he had like, and then like 3 infantry forces with all those buildings. I know we were talking about it during the break, but some mortar half-tracks would have been nice. I guess munitions maybe not, but at least mortar half-tracks. A couple of martyrs wouldn't have been such a bad idea for some long-range AT. And just a crap load of PE grunts with MP44s could have really turned that game around. And unfortunately, he just kept spending it on Panthers, which aren't all that effective against infantry, and that's what they were facing. So,
And getting owned by it.
Yeah, I mean, they had to have
Airborne.
known by mid-game, at least, that they were facing all 4 doctrines. I mean, the only tanks they were dealing with were katsutSS tanks, and he was the armor company commander. You're facing up against 2 infantry-based doctrines, and you're mostly going anti-tank? That's just not good planning right there, I think.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's about all I've got.
Well, and as for what could they have done against the Airborne, it's like they mentioned this when they posted this replay in the forums, that their question was, okay, what could we do about this spam? Okay, for one, yeah, definitely could have used some mortar half-tracks. What you needed was artillery. You had 2 guys who went tank-heavy doctrines. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you both went 2 tank-heavy doctrines up against 2 heavy infantry doctrines. And the tanks, in the end, didn't really help.
And
Well, yeah.
I think if we would have seen earlier, I mean, he could have even just built a few MP44 squads, and he could have dealt with a lot of those AT infantry. But they just kept spamming out the AT infantry because he just kept spamming out the Panther battle groups, whatever they call them, Panthers.
So you gotta keep in mind that Saluko what's his name, was smart enough to keep 3 or 4 snipers on the field at all times. So even if he did have those Panzer Grenadiers with MP44s, it wouldn't have done much. It wouldn't have done much because they would all get sniped.
Well, I mean, 3 snipers can only kill so many guys. If you had 3 squads, you could kill 3 snipers.